Welcome to From Scratch. From
Wow.
Scratch, yeah. From
From
Scratch is a place
okay.
where I explore the startup world with my founder and creative friends from all over the world. We focus on 0 to 1 stories,
Yeah.
struggles, grit, and drives. The
Yeah.
stories untold and the inner strength that the founders and creators need in the pursuit of startup dreams. I'm your host, Daw-Chih, and I'm the first time startup founder and content creator. In this
Wow.
episode, we're honored to have Oleg puzanov.
Super excited to exchange ideas and talk about my journey. It's just super rare occasion when I talk about the journey in the public. So I'm quite excited to share what the journey I've done.
Then I'm curious, what type of things do you usually share?
People asking about questions of what will be happening in the future, and I'm just sharing my views on the future. So when you look at the past and you merge the past experience in the future predictions, probably somehow it will be much more accurate to predict things. But be ready to anything, not betting on something.
Preparation and just have an open mind. Do you remember how we first met?
I was sitting in the kitchen of Draper University. The first of the second day, the whole people started to know each other. Most of the people entered Draper as a solo people. There were several groups, one from Kazakhstan and one from Japan. They were close together, but most of the people, they are just completely, disorientated. Like, what? For me, it was the second visit in US. So yeah, I was, and the first visit in Valley. So that's very quite interesting, quite stressing. And then I saw you, bro, with this coffee stuff, and you just standing like this and looking at the people, smiling, and hello everybody. Like, I am Daw-Chih from Taiwan, from Düsseldorf, from Germany. Hello. And yeah, actually, we met there. So I was like pouring coffee from this coffee machine and looking at your coffee device. Probably the first chat started there.
Yeah, that's how I remember as well. I every morning I will stay at the kitchen making pour over coffee, and I just try to talk to people. Yeah, just get out of my comfort zone a little bit. I did feel the disorientation. I was just like, oh yeah, if I feel this way, maybe other people feel the same way. So let's just talk to people and make people feel they're not alone. Yeah, because we're gonna be here for the
Yeah.
next 5 weeks.
Do you use this kind of behavior, like super open, on purpose, or it's just your default mode of entering the new type of places and poaching new type of people? I'm asking just because most of the people who are entering the kitchen of the first time of the Draper University, they're like behaving very close. Like, I'm not here. I can see you. You can see me. I just for water. I can use my water and they goodbye. And and they are gone. And this will happen for probably 1 week. And after 1 week, you just used to know these people. You just try to understand, and you just get this emotional comfort of trying to make the first contact. But when I see you, you're just super open. Like, hello, guys, I'm here. Let's start to communicate. Who are you?
Let's be friends.
Yeah, let's be.
I think I'm always this way, like kind of happy person, very open. And but I think COVID changed me a little bit. Like I've become a little closer to myself. Yeah, like and I just remember like after the COVID restrictions, the first time I went back to the office and we had this huge office party. It was tough. Like I couldn't talk to anybody, and I tried to, talk and try to communicate or just interact with people, but it was very difficult, and I got this huge, I want to say, anxiety. Really did have to like take a long break away from people during the party, but now I kind of went back to that normal state now.
How much time did you participate in the closed environment in in Germany?
COVID lasted a year or two, right? So
Like half a year without the social interaction, only the close friends and the family, right?
Yeah, exactly. And I think like more restrictions lasted about a year. It was also like how I handle all the restrictions was a little like isolating. I was like, I want to, do a lot of coding. I want to be by myself, and
Yeah.
I don't need meetings. Give me space and let me work.
I completely believe that we have some kind of a social muscles in our nervous system and in our perception and in the brain. And when you sit in for a long period of time without the communicating with the not people who but the new type of people, the strangers.
Yeah.
And I read a book about how the brain works, and one of the toughest and hardest task for a brain is to communicate with a new person.
Wow.
So there are a lot of uncertainties happening in your brain, and your brain tries to calculate the predictions about who are you? Are you a threat? Are you a friend? How to communicate? What's the language barrier? What's the cultural barrier? How I should behave? What will you say in several seconds? And all this happening in the unconscious barrier. But when you put a lot of virus in your brain, you see the huge electric or neuron activity, especially when you try to communicate with a person that you see at the first time. And if you do not do this for several months, the ability to handle this communication is going low. So when you see the bell in your door, you just feel extremely stressed. When you try to communicate with a stranger in the street, you just feel extremely stressed. Just to spend several weeks probably talking with the new people, and you will be the same as like the several years ago, for example, when you sitting in the COVID restrictions.
So you're now the founder of enji AI.
Right, co-founder. Right,
co-founder.
Right. It's Action as a main founder. So my two co-founders are still working in our previous company. I can say that the Mad Devs is a previous company of enji. It's just the parents of enji, and right now the main investor of enji.
You have a very interesting track record of startup. You never had a normal corporate job, right? Have you ever been an employee?
I've been an employee in 2004 for several years. Yeah, and I was hired as a software engineer in a company in Kyrgyzstan. Then the name of the company was Ikin Group, and the Ikin Group was I think one of the first of the companies in Kyrgyz Republic who was building this custom software. On that time, it was super popular to be some kind of a web studio, because most of the development were happening in the web. Mm-hmm. Like web for 2004 or 2005 was one of the hot topic right now, as an AI right now, as LLMs right now. Before that, the main software was the executable binary for Windows, created using Delphi or Borland C Builder or Visual C++ and stuff like that. When web came out, the browsers, PHP, third version of PHP, which was built on Perl. The first versions of PHP were built using Perl. So Rasmus Lerdov, the author of PHP, were using Perl to build PHP. I think he was started to use CGIs for web development for backend using Perl, and just pissed off of the syntax of the Perl and decided to change it and build PHP on Perl. And when PHP got super popular, they decided to rewrite it on the C. And right now it's a completely different architecture, and one of the fastest interpreted languages for web right now, PHP. Still, yeah, it's still powering a lot of websites, just because of the popularity of WordPress and Drupal and other web framework. So yeah, we were building websites. I got some experience several years before 2004, just building websites for myself, just playing, and we're hired for one guy who were trying to sell websites, and I was building the admin panel on PHP and JavaScript for these websites, working on the Internet Explorer 5 or 4. I didn't remember the version. Yeah.
Wow, that was a long time ago. Hey, Grandpa.
I just barely remember this stuff, so just trying to close the eyes and just see some kind of flashes of what's happening that time. But it was quite interesting time. Yeah, everybody tried to build something, and Google didn't exist still. AWS didn't exist. There were no clouds. We just deployed our software on FTP. You just create a bunch of PHP files and GS files, and you were supposed to buy a hosting from the hosting company, and the hosting company provided you the FTP access. So there are no SSH access and other accesses. They just provide FTP access. And there were several folders, like data folder, www, where you should place your executables, or some kind of other folders. I think the reason why PHP was so popular that time, just because the Apache server were configured to run the PHP files directly. So you should just ask for a file from the browser, and Apache will intercept that and just interpret this file through a PHP module, and that you get the results. I think that was the killer feature of that time, because for Perl, you should have the SSH, but at that time, some hosting providers started to create the CGI bin folder, and you can create the executable and put in the CGI bin folder, but that creates some drawbacks in the routing. But when Apache with the PHP model emerged on the market, it was quite easy. You just get an FTP, you just copy paste these files. And the second option, it's just quite easy to change files using the FTP protocol on the server directly. So how I was programmed, it was the file manager. This was the file manager, and they created the options when I can enter the remote directory on FTP, and I can press the F4 and change some files in PHP, save it, and it was uploaded on FTP simultaneously, like on the background. And after that, I will go to the browser, press F5, and see the changes. Like, wow. There is no need to test on local machine. Let's test on production directly. I was building software like this in this ancient times.
That's so crazy. It sounds insane to me now.
Yeah, now it's completely insane. But at that time, that was one of the easiest way to build the software.
To be honest, it's very creative.
It was the huge community of PHP builders, like webmasters, they call themselves like this. So you should know the PHP for backend, and you should know the basic options how to store data using the SQL from MySQL. The most hosting providers they were supposed to create a database for you, and you can install the PHP MyAdmin in this hosting and connect this PHP MyAdmin with the MySQL and build the software like this. Yeah, so we spent several times building web. Then this the founders of this company, they got a huge contracts somehow. I don't know. They got a huge contracts for building the first payment solution for Kyrgyz Republic. And it was using the short numbers of SMS short numbers. So there is still no smartphones. Like there is no iPhone, there is no HTC with Android. So the reason, so you have only the phone. You can with the buttons. Then you can make calls and communicate with SMS and USSD commands. And the company decided to build the payment solution when you, using the web browser, can connect your phone with the wallet, and using the short numbers on your phone, you can pay for electricity, for some kind of local facilities or fines or other stuff. And this created a huge impact on the market. It was like, what? I can pay using my phone for electricity or for water, and I do not need to go to the other side of the city to stay in the queue with the older people who always complain. Oh my God. Yeah, that was the huge, revolution on that market. And we were building this software, and it was not only the web application, it was the huge architecture. The database was an Oracle. The all middleware was built in Perl. So on that time, I figured out that the PHP was built on Perl. The reason we decided to use Perl just before there was the huge pack of the libraries already built in Perl. So that's why we decided to use Perl, because it will be increasing our velocity, not to rebuilding some kind of working stuff on Perl and transfer it on PHP. So that's why we decided to use Perl. We started to connect a lot of government services to this payment gateway. The second project was do you know the term kiosks, payment kiosks? So this is the huge metal boxes standing on the street with the touch screen, and you can touch it, and there is the cash in device that you can put money. We're supposed to build one of the first type of this solution in Kazakhstan. So Kazakhstan is a near country of the Kyrgyzstan, much bigger. Somehow our founders, the top management of Ikin Group, tried to get this huge contract, and we started to build this type of features. Then I've started to meet the Microsoft stack and .NET stack, because we just decided not to use Perl. We just started to use the object-oriented stuff, because it's quite easy. Then I found the JetBrains company, because JetBrains at that time, they did not invest a lot of resources in IDEs. They just tried to build the plugin to Visual Studio. And this plugin was enabled to a lot of refactoring options for Visual Studio and for C# as well. So then I entered this C# world. Then I found a lot of great software engineers. Our top managers hired a lot of senior engineers at that time, and I've learned a lot. I've learned the test-driven development, extreme programming, agile manifesto was happening at that time. And do you believe that I found my signature of the agile manifesto at that time?
No way.
Yes. I've met my old friend, and he was able to translate the English version of Agile Manifesto into Russian. And he taught me about it. I just barely remember this activity. It was happening so much times. It was 2007, and I was, Roman, I think I was participating. So you were one of the signers of this manifesto. I mean, what? Yeah, and then he showed me the records, and there is my email and my name in the agilemanifesto.org still sitting there.
Since then, how many startups have you founded?
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. I think around 10. Some of them were so small and not so. I don't want to say popular. Let's say successful. But how was it happening? So we are working on this company, and we've managed to be in charge of the local branch of the Kyrgyz Republic. So me and my friend, and we started to spend spare time on building various things, because we just had this spare time. There was the not profit organization, probably sponsored by U.S. government or European government, because the Central Asia region at that time was quite interesting between the Western civilization and the Russians. So there were investment mostly from Peace Corps, mostly from US aid. I do not know the real roots of this happening, but some kind of organization started to attract software engineers and giving them facilities to build something. Like 2007. So you don't have, buying a computer is a big deal, bro. I mean, you just still having the Motorola phone with, or Nokia phone 3310 10. It was completely expensive, and having a local, your own server, was a miracle, or you just can't imagine that it can be happening. And the people who were in charge of this organization, it was GIP. It's in Russian, but I do not know how to translate it. They decided to give us the facilities. It was two types of facilities: the huge server with the huge hardware and the huge disks. It was insane for that time, and the unlimited internet connection, because at that time there was in Kyrgyzstan, in all the CIS region, it was the huge price difference between internet traffic, like the local traffic, which is going into peering with the local providers. It's quite free. It just was unlimited, and it was free. But the external traffic, like when your request is traveling out of Kyrgyzstan, for example, to Yandex or to IOL or altavista.com, it was one of the first such engines, then you should pay for each megabyte, and the price was quite big. And then we decided to solve our own problem, the problem of exchanging files. Like we decided to build the file storage, like rapid share, like mega upload or stuff like that. We started to build
Dropbox.
this. Yeah, or Dropbox for sure. We called this product file bar. Like bar on Kyrgyz is have, so we have files. We've got files, like yeah, file bar, filebar.kg, and we created the web interface on that time, and it was one of the first options of uploading files with the progress bar using browser, because most of the options for people to upload files was the FTP. So people upload files using FTP, and we created the web interface to upload files. On the time, it was quite impressive. We spent a lot of nights trying to figure out how to build a progress bar in a web browser for uploading files. 2007, just complete crazy. There is no tooling, no stuff, and we just created this kind of fancy option of uploading files. It was just a table of files which all people can upload. So if you upload the file, I can see your file. If I upload my file, you can see my file, and you can download it. I think this year, 2007, or this 1 year before, Gmail emerged. And Gmail disrupted the market with the one single message: there is no limit for storage. Or probably it was 1 gigabyte. Insanely huge. I remember myself like trying to calculate the storage of my local mail gate, trying to understand what should I delete, what should I upload. And then Gmail entered it, and we were like, what? How can it possible? And then we decided to do the same in the file bar. We just let people upload files anonymously without any limits. After 2 days, it was blown up by files from all the people from the country. We just posted this link in a local forum, and all people start uploading files. We accidentally found the product market fit, because there are huge demand for exchanging files for people who are not familiar with FTP protocol. They just want to use browser. They know how to use it, and they want to have the super simple upload interface and super simple download interface. And we started to ask this charity company to buy for us more hardware. They tried to buy some kind of hardware, but after that time, this disk easily became full, and we started to limit the upload. And after a week or probably a month of the work on the filebar in Kyrgyzstan, people from Kazakhstan, one of the largest internet provider, approached us and asked us to build the file bar in Kazakhstan, and they will give us all the hardware, all the disks, because they want to attract internet users. Like we have the file uploader and file downloader in the web, not in a FTP interface. And we've done this, and the file bar on Kazakhstan just got the same popularity as in Kyrgyzstan in several days. After that, me and my co-founder, we decided to step off of this company, found investors, and created the first startup in Central Asia. The name was Namba. On Swahili, I think it's the first Namba, Namba. We decided to build the file sharing service under this name, the email service under this name, the video service under this name, like the local Central Asian Yahoo.
When you built the first file sharing in Kyrgyzstan, it was just a passion project?
Just a side project with two software engineers like myself and my friend Sergey. So yeah, we just built it for fun. Still working on the company and building the payment gates and helping people with payments. But on the weekends, we try to spend time building this file sharing service.
I was fascinated by the story, how you found product market fit. Could you tell us more about, like, for example, the file size limit, all these things? Why was it such a big problem? And when you released this unlimited file storage feature, how did the market perceive?
I think it was just a very bold and screamy slogan on the market. It's just, you will not believe this, but there is unlimited storage. I was constantly fascinated by this effect of how the technical invasions can create the emotions of the people. When I first started to use the ICQ, this is one of the first instant messengers, was built by the Israeli company. When I first tried to contact person simultaneously, and I was looking his nickname and the status, type it. And after the status, I will see the message. So it was the instant messaging. It was the first impressions of the instant messaging, because just before ICQ, we were using mostly email for communication and the phone. For SMSs, you just can't understand about the online or offline status of this person. By ICQ, we're showing that this person is online. And if you will send him a message, this person will see the message and reply instantly. You will see that the message was created, and it can reply. And WhatsApp, I think WhatsApp happened to emerged right after RCQ for several years, and it was mostly on phones. But on a local computer, you should download the ICQ.exe executable for Windows and chat with people. And it was super emotional when you deliver something to the market, and if you want to stick users around you, there should be some kind of a wow effect that you will be hooked on. You can see how this wow effect is heavily used by OpenAI. So they released this voice instant capabilities, and it's just like, what? Is this really artificial?
Yeah.
And they know how to hook it. They encapsulate in these emotionals, they encapsulate in these tones. For what reason? Like, there is no technical reason for that. There is no maybe. I know that the emotions is the information as well, but for what reason you try to build this? But for the hook, for the emotional hook, I constantly 100% believe they know how to hook users, and they do this a lot. And for example, Midjourney, when I first entered Discord and found this bot, I just like, no, this will not happen. This all hoax. It's all scam. They will ask for crypto for sure. I know. And I like little girl sitting on the road near the bus stop, feeding a dog. I press enter and I see the results. I'm like, oh my God, what's happening? It's not true. And then I discovered the stable diffusion protocol. It's just mathematics under the hood.
Yeah.
So this is the wow effect. This is the hook. The way how you give it to the market and to the users, you should, how to say, feel this, because when we got the message, when we spread the message like unlimited file storage, we just know that the people familiar with this term, because Gmail integrated the unlimited email. It created the huge viral effect at that time. So we decided to use the same. The real intention when we, me and myself and my team, and my co-founders build the projects, the real intention is to solve our own problem. And we still do this, and we still do the same. Every startup we create, we try to solve our own problem. In some occasions, we can find the flow of the other users that have the same problem. In some occasions, no, we just solve our own problem. There's very few people who are experiencing the same pains.
Mm-hmm.
This is not successful startup. So we created Number. Number was one of the hardest projects that was built. So we got million users from 3 countries in Central Asia. We were one of the largest file sharing and video sharing and music sharing service. We created a lot of traffics. Internet providers, by our pressure, increased the capabilities of the traffic exchange inside the countries. We created the first CDN service. We created the first somehow cloud service just before AWS, because we have several hundred disks and dozens of servers just across Kazakhstan, Kyrgyzstan, and other countries. And we should somehow manipulate this using, three system administrators. Like the term DevOps didn't exist that time. It was system administrators. And 3 people using, it was super crazy. And we were super restricted by resources. And we developed several principles how to approach the software engineering, how to build the software. So you still should operate software in the future. After you will leave the company, the software should work. Just because as an engineer, you are responsible for users. That's the case. So on that time, we just experienced that case. So users always complaining, and they know where we're sitting, and they know who we are, and they always try to poke us. And when we were deploying some kind of a buggy or shitty update, they will complain instantly, and they were millions of these users. Okay, not millions, but thousands, hundreds of thousands of these users. And that time we were super young, and that time we just understood from the DNA that the software engineering is not about the code. Software engineering is not about the invention. Software engineering is about the responsibility to users. And if you decided to help these users, help them. Do not increase their problems. Do not deliver them problems. Just help them, make them happy.
Totally.
Yeah. So that what I'm trying to sell to software engineers, to programmers, that the difference between programmer, coder, and engineer. So engineer is responsible for users who are on the very end part of the solution. Coder is just responsible for the git commit. Okay. Or probably git push. Yeah, I've pushed my code. I do not know what happened. It's a DevOps problem. It's a hosting problem. It's a cloud provider. It's not my problem. I don't want to participate in planning. I don't want to sit in your calls. It's your shitty calls. My code is working. Give me time to code. It's okay to code, but it's not engineering. So engineering is working with users mostly.
Right.
So, yeah.
So you decided that human is the center of your mission in engineering.
When you put a human in the center of engineering, you just happen to perceive the reality much sober than that there is no people in the center of the engineering. The last mile of engineering is a person who is using your software. And after that, we just created the finite number of practices and approaches, how to build the software, how to communicate in the software teams, how to communicate with stakeholders, and how to build software which will be working after you leave the company. So I call this metric onboarding cost, and I still happen to see there are a lot of problems when the team decided to leave the company, the team of software engineers, and the new team approach, and they open the repository and just like, sir, we need to build it from scratch. It's just piece of shit, you know. It's still happening, bro. It's still happening. I was talking with one of the VCs, just trying to sell him enji, and he was experienced in engineering. So it's not a VC who are just better than the monkey. He was capable of sitting on the CTO positions in his past life, and now he's finding the B2B technical companies. It was quite impressive on what we're doing, but the main complaint from him it was, Oleg, software engineering is art. I like, what? Okay, tell me more. What? Software engineering is art? Yeah. When one engineer is leaving, the new engineer tries to build it from scratch. It's just how it's happening. No, it's not how it's happening. It's a bad habits. It's unprofessionalism. It's a bullshit. Come on. No, it's not art. It's just work. It's just commitments. It's just tests, documentation, README, Docker Compose, zero deployment, zero administration, finite number of practices you should follow. Then when one of the good options when I read on the probably Robert Martin, like Uncle Bob, who was supposed to write the clean code book, he was saying that the great engineer is writing code for the future engineer who will become in his place. Mm. I like communicating with either with the future myself or the future person who will be sitting on my place.
Yeah.
Like that's why I'm building the software, why I'm creating the code like this, why I'm creating the tests like this, why I am forming the documentation and README and onboarding structures like this for future people. That's the case. So the future people will open my code and they, oh, okay, I got it. I got the point. I got the value. I got the need. I see the black boxes. I know what you've done here. Great, thank you. And I can continue your work, not to do it from scratch just because I don't understand what you've done. That's the case. So the code is the communication for the future engineers, because you're writing code not for the computer. Computer is still working on zeros and ones. Still working zeros and ones. But when you write a code for the future self. And I think that at that time we just created this framework, and after this super huge media portal, we created the taxi company, which was like Uber in Kyrgyzstan. And it was quite impressive just because on that time, the way how we can call the taxi, you should call the operator by phone. Hello, I need a taxi. What's your address? This cross street. Okay, let me see. Okay, I have one car, so they will be here. They will be on the place after 20 minutes, and I will call you. It was quite, bad experience. And when I think one of the inventions, I can't say that it was inventions, but and I can't say that we created this. There was the company in Kyrgyzstan called SMS Taxi, and the SMS Taxi they decided to put the navigators, GPS navigators inside taxi cabs. And these GPS navigators, it was not on Android device. It was the Windows CE, if you're familiar with these operating systems. So it was Windows for embedded devices. It was this huge device. So we're still sitting on the feature phones, like phones with the buttons. There is still no Android, and these devices were supposed to have the GPS. So these guys created the huge and the new type of experience of calling the taxi. You just send in an SMS to a short number with the name of your address. Like there is no need to call somebody and wait for something. You just send a message with your address, and after less than a minute, it will answers you the name of the cab, the name of the driver, and the phone of the driver, and the estimate time of arrival to a place. It was just what?
What did you do to compete with that?
We decided not to compete. We decided to partner. So we created Number Taxi as a brand and used their technology.
Gotcha.
After and I think it was at the first day and the first week, it was 1,000 orders. It was quite huge for Bishkek, and after that, this taxi service started to grow, and we started to build our own solution at that time. It was super great to write our own taxi service, and I was one of the first-time users, and I was using this several times a day, complaining a lot. I just got into transportation. I mean, super deep. I know everything about transportation right now. Like last time, I was supposed to know everything about social networks and the media services. After that, I've got to know about the transportation and how to connect the old ways of transportations to the technical stuff. Later, we decided to create the food service. So we created the food delivery service. It's still operating, and it was sold by Yandex. And the Number Taxi was sold by different people, and the Number probably still working. I don't know, but yeah, it's probably pivoted to media company. Right now, it's an advertisement media company. I think at that time we created several other companies, but it was not such successful as the ride-hailing, food delivery, and media. And then we just started to feel that we, as a technical team, is just not so interested serving this, needs of the local market. We feel that we are ready for some kind of a global stuff.
Yeah.
Because we got a lot of experience from the days without internet to the days where AWS, GCP, mobile apps are emerging. So you're just living in a technical jungles, but you remember that time that on this land that was a sand, not any leaves happening there. And then we decided to create our own company, MadDevs, which will be dedicated mostly of the software engineering.
What does MadDev do?
So MadDevs is just a custom software development agency. It's just what was Aikin Group doing at that time, but we are working global. So that's the case. So the idea of founding this company is to find clients which had a very complicated and sophisticated tasks to complete. That's the case. It's related to high availability, deep tech, cybersecurity, something around blockchain, something around machine learning, like all this super hard to understand and super hard to compete trends. And the first team was around 13 people. It was the remote first company. And we started to grow from the day one. I think that on that time there was a need of the dedicated, experienced software engineers who knows what to do, because at that time the market was flooded by unexperienced teams. They just, it was a lot of scams. People didn't know how to choose the right partner. And we just decided to spread the message that the MadDevs is the core principles is the transparency and the trust. So you can observe and see exactly what is happening in the software development department of MedDevs if you're a client of MedDevs. So if you're happening to order services and paying for time and material, you can see everything what is happening. On that time, it was completely insane. Like most of our competitors, like, why do you show them your stand-ups? They're not happen to see what you're doing. They will sue you. They will try to complain on any hours you have to spend. And I just when they said no, we just no, we want to be naked among our clients. So we want to stand in front of our clients naked. Why? They will beat your balls. No, there is nothing to hide. If there is nothing to hide, there is nothing to complain. Like, come on. Software engineers creating bugs, they're creating mistakes. It's okay. Let's show how it's happening. Because most of the cases, most of the roots when you're creating mistakes, it's just, the lack of requirements, lack of communication, and the client somehow is responsible for that. Let's involve all our clients to the whole of the software engineering process, so they can see what is happening. Because on that time, software engineering was kind of the black box, and the people who are doing software, they were in a position like, I'm a software engineer. You're not supposed to ask these dumb questions. Who are you? Who are you? You're a customer. Yeah. You're a customer. You just sit on this table, on this chair, and wait for the results. And customer, like, what? And after that, I should pay you? Yes. And it was the normal. It was the normal on the market. On any report, if you will find the any report of the perception of the outsource or outstaff software engineering, it's still a lot of complaints, just because it was some kind of a black box for people who are paying for something and they cannot understand what deliverables they will get due to deadline. Because we are software engineers, you're not supposed to ask questions. We decided to disrupt it. You will see everything. You can read every task. You can see the profile of our employee. It's not your people, but if this team is working, helping to your project, you are able to see everything which will be happening in our company. And I think this was one of the essential options for the company to grow. We have 135 software engineers, several $1 million ARR, and most of the clients, we are losing our clients in most of the time on two options. Yeah, one option, clients just decided to switch the team. It's okay, but it's not a huge part of all the churn which is happening. Most of the churn, the company dies. Like the startup didn't happen, so the market wasn't there. Founders decided to step off. Investors decided to quit and do not prolong the relationships to find the next round. The second option, when we lose the client was acquired by AWS, for example. Amazon was bought. Amazon recently happened to bought one of our clients. There was other acquisitions, and that's why we are losing our clients. But the rest of the clients still sitting with us, like for 5-6 years. We are still helping them. We're still growing. And when after the COVID, we got the first signs of recession, and I still believe that we are still in this format as a service company, because service companies are the marker of the market growth. It's not about the shares. It's not about the hype. It's about how CTOs and top management spend their money. Right now, still most of the companies do not invest in building. Most of them invest in betting. Only people from AI is building right now. So that's what I see. I see that the whole inventions of blockchain companies are completely stopped right now. I see that the most of the shares of service companies are not growing. Like Accenture is not growing. EPAM is not growing. Big 10, it's not growing right now. Who is growing? AMD, Nvidia, other companies. Most of them are just get a lot of free cash after layoffs and got a buyback of their shares just to increase the market attraction for the rest of the players. The reason we are building enji right now is just because the transparency and the way how leaders decide to make decisions in a bridge between stakeholders and the software developments, there are a lot of biases happening here. And we just helping companies just to decrease this bias using our product. We just still believing that the huge transparency in what happening in the software engineering teams and software engineering departments is one of the essential parts of increasing the chances of the successful projects. So there are two options when the project could not be successful. One, the lack of resources, and the second, you just can't finish everything till the deadline. Why this happening? Most of the cases, you just can't understand what's happening in the software engineering departments. But when you build these practices, you just constantly have the ability to understand what's going wrong as fast or as earliest as you can spot it. That's the case. Because software engineering and the building projects, especially in software engineering, is unpredictable, chaotic still stuff. When you build something new, it's just it's something new. You need to work with a lot of uncertainties, and we just want to be transparent to find these uncertainties from the various parts of the participants. So the stakeholders can find uncertainties in our processes. The customers can find, the users can find, a lot of people can find, and these signals can increase the probability of the successful project. If you spot the problem in the early stage, you can fix it, and probably the project will not go in the wrong direction. So that's abstract framework of why we invest in transparency so much in MedDevs and in enji.
Can you just, in a few words, describe what enji does?
Enji just sitting as a solution which is getting the results of software engineering. So enji is not tracking, not getting screenshots, not sniffing keystrokes. It's just happening to get the artifacts of the software engineering, and then it will create a huge and fancy dashboards and show what is going on the. Not on the software engineering team, but on the whole software engineering department, of the whole IT department. So we are focusing mostly on companies rather than the small teams. So that's the case, especially if you are working in this hybrid model. So right now, I think it's essential on the market. So people, especially newcomers, they want to have these options to visit an office in different cities if you have several offices, or decided to work remotely if they do not want to take a lot of time to commute, for example. Like in Bishkek, in this small city, it's extremely hard to commute right now. Like it was okay several years ago, but right now it can take 2 hours. Like 2 hours for what? Let me work from my home. Let me work in a hybrid mode. And if a company wants to see what is going on in the hybrid mode company, the enji will definitely can help with that. I see that there are several complaints about that. Like some of the people talking about control. Control, it's observing of processes. Like I want to observe what is going on. It's okay completely, especially if I'm a investor, stakeholder, or a customer for the project. I have a gut feeling that the observability of the software engineering, it's right now there is a term in the DevOps community, the observability of the architecture. So you have the software system and you should build the observability about what's happening in each part of the system. So people is a part of the system as well. So we need to build the observability in people as well. So sometimes some of the software engineers can spot the problem, and it's okay. So the system can spot the problem. And I believe in the near future, probably maybe 2 years, there will be several AI agents sitting in your team near your engineers. Like this AI agent is testing. This AI agent is capable for deploying. This AI agent is capable for managing requirements. And these AI agents, they will act like people. They will create issues and tasks in Jira. They will commit code. You can ask questions in comments, and they will answer. And they will have goals. They will have some kind of a processes, and you still need to observe them. Probably in a 10 or 12 or 20 years, the whole software engineering department will be consistent only with AI agents. And you should observe it. You need to observe it, because observability of what is happening, it's one of the essential parts of the successful project right now, especially if you have a lot of uncertainties from the environment. We are getting the results from various data sources and create dashboards, and using our process approach, helping leaders that in this case there is a probably blocker. So these two engineers, they're not releasing anything. We see that they are visiting something, but there are no deliverables on everyday manner, for example. This software team just started to shift in the time zone. Probably you need to approach that. This software engineering department, they are spending half of the time communicating about something. So let's try to fix that. It's kind of engineering management platform, but not only for engineers, but mostly for stakeholders for them to create better decisions, because most of the team leaders can create for their team very easy and working observability tool, but it will be understandable only for them rather than for stakeholders who are investing money. I hope I've transferred the message and the value proposition of the product.
It's very clear. So it's to my understanding, it's a workflow analytics tool across teams to help leadership make more accurate and better decisions. Let's do a couple quick fire. What's your favorite book or podcast?
Andrew Huberman right now in a top list, but I cannot understand the magic of Lex Fridman. I cannot understand the magic of Lex Fridman, but the way how he approaches to guests and the way how he attracts guests, it's a black magic for me. And mostly I am trying to watch his interviews right now. There are several podcasts in Russian, but most of the time I'm spending between Huberman and Lex Fridman. In case of books, I read a lot about technical stuff mostly. In case of what will change the mindset, probably I will recommend all of the books by Nassim Taleb. I think this guy, he's super shitty and toxic at Twitter, but the way how he tries to encapsulate and deliver the new philosophical aspects with the mathematical precision and the way how, I mean, this is one of the sober philosophers right now from my standpoint. So yeah, he's not the person who is only thinking about what will happen. He's doing a lot, and he's actively participating in debates. And the way how he delivers his message, I really like it. So yeah, probably he just feels the entrepreneurship vibe, and I just happen to catch this vibe. That's why I love how he writes his books. And I believe that you should drop all the success stories from entrepreneurs as an entrepreneur, because every success story is just a bubble of the person. It's just his story. and most of them, most of the stories is just the luck. It's just opportunities, just parents, it's just the right time in right place. But the Nassim Taleb is one of the authors who are trying to make it in an abstract manner. So I'm still as an entrepreneur using his approaches when I build business, and I see the risks, especially in people, in founders and partners, which I was happening to get from his books right now. For example, if you're not skinned in the game, if you're not cut something from you, you will not be able to create motivation working in your startup. And there is the book about that, like, and there are a lot of examples about how to build this. So yeah, and how to work with uncertainties, how to work with probabilities. That's a great case. The second book, probably Objectives, Key Results, the OKR methodology from Andy Grove, or who? No, it's not Andy Grove. It's a different person. Andy Grove was the happening the CEO of Intel, but John Doerr, John Doerr was the author of the book. Yeah, it's great. So how to teach yourself to calculate, how to teach yourself to perceive numbers, to connect numbers to your abstraction goals. That's a absolutely a great framework of increasing the probability of achieving goals. That's super impressive, and we are using this in MedDevs a lot. And I see how hard for people and for me, for myself to train the brain to connect the rhythm of numbers and the key results with numbers to the abstract goals. But when you connect it as a goal machine, you will be quite successful for sure.
Bootstrap or VC?
Start from Bootstrap and then VC. It's just because for now there's no way to do the opposite. At the COVID, my friend raised $500,000 from 8 slides. It was the crypto project. Not scammy. The money was raised from a famous VCs in US. It was 8 slides. No, zero project. 50K, like 500K, $500,000. So yeah, right now the only way to build project is Bootstrap. So then, especially if you get a MRR, constant at MRR, especially if you get some kind of the percentage of accelerating your MRR from month to month, you will be super interested by VCs. But what I see right now, there are several layers of VCs, and the whales are trying to work with whales. So very experienced or top-notch VCs tries to onboard founders with the great opportunity. So probably with the great education, or probably with the experiences from big tech. Like I see people who are not able to work from on big tech and without the education from Stanford and Harvard, they will be losing the game in a VC sitting, for example, in a Bay Area. But there are a lot of VCs which are trying to help companies and people from emerging markets. There are lots of VCs from Turkey, which is trying to get into the market. There are a lot of VCs from Kazakhstan. There are a lot of VCs from Europe who just enter in the market and trying to grab fruits from not so hyped areas on the market on the world right now. So I think bootstrap and then find the VC not from the top tier but on the middle tier, it's probably the working strategy right now.
If you could give one advice to startup founders, what would it be?
Great question. One advice is to talk to users. Your vision is just a hallucination of your brain. My advice is to try to create as much as possible options to go out from your bubble. Go out from your bubble. Talk to users. listen to the users, and do what they want and test it. That's so simple. The reason why we do not do this, because there are a lot of regrets, there are a lot of bad type of emotions, there are a lot of rejects, especially if we believe in something. Get used to this kind of emotion. Rejects is okay. Rejects is just another pattern of energy, of emotion of your body. Just get used to it, and you will be the super successful, because users, companies, people, you are building a startup for them, not for yourself. That's the case. Listen to users, identify patterns, build solution, give them for trial, try and ask the dumb question: what should I do for you? In order you will be a paying person, like paying customer. What exactly do you need right now to start paying me $20 per month? What is it? If this person do not know, okay, go to the next one. Go to the either. Yeah, there is a lot of drawbacks here. You can find the people who are just, taking bullshit, or do not understand what they want. But enumerate, find a pattern. That's the case. But sitting inside your head, it's just so get used to the fact that your brain is creating only hypotheses. That's the case. Do not believe what the of what do not believe to the your brain's outcomes. Take it as a hypothesis, and then go to the market and test it with users.
I think this is a very good way to end it. Sort of everything ties back to what we talked about, how how engineers create softwares for the end user. Thank you so much for being so open and generous with your experience and all the things that you've been through. You're definitely one of the most knowledgeable founders I've met.
I'm an old person.
Hey, you started with sharing web app in FTP. I don't think any of the people I know had that experience.
I started to program on PHP 3. It's now PHP 8.
It's crazy, but you're the one I talk to when I need some brainstorming and or just general advice. So thank you very much for coming on the show.